I'm Patrick Bailey with iQlist.com. Today is January 21st, 2019. And in this video, I'm going to show off some gift card holders that I made for Christmas earlier and give you some hints on how to make your own. Okay, first the story. So I did this before Christmas. We were having a hard time figuring a gift for my brother-in-law in this case, and he had just got a new cooker, a new smoker, and really excited about it. So we thought, oh, hey, let's give him a gift card to go buy some meat. So my mother-in-law went out and bought him a gift card. We bought him a gift card. And then I thought, I got a 3D printer. Maybe we could print out something that can hold the gift card. That'd be kind of cool and interesting and something to talk about and just some fun to try to design it. So that's when I came up with these little things. And I did it in just a couple of days of some experimenting and figuring it out. And I would have, I got this done literally the day before Christmas. They were actually printed out for him. Otherwise, I would have, if I had thought ahead and done this well before Christmas, maybe I could have helped someone out there to actually print some before Christmas. But now it's January. But anyway, so that's the story on the need or the desire to make some gift card holders. So with that, let me go in and show you what I did to design them. Okay, so here's how I designed it. But first, I had to do some experiments. So I always do experiments. As best I can, I'm trying to make my prints simple and, of a high level of success. So I try to avoid infills and I try to avoid supports and I just try to avoid that. This one, however, does need it because one of my first experiments was seeing if I could bridge this big old gap here. And as you can see, and I even have some worse examples, it did not turn out very well and the example was very bad. So this one actually needs infills. Unfortunately, but that was one of my first experiments. And it failed. But experiment, see what you can do. But here's, in the essence of what I did, and this is pretty easy, is in Fusion 360, you can put in images. And then on images, you can basically trace. So that's what I did. So in Fusion 360, I'll show you real quick. I can go on a plane here and say, create a sketch. You don't need to create a sketch at first, but I would suggest that because you kind of want a relative size. And so I'll make up a size here. I'm probably going to be way off. And I'll say, 120 by, 200. Now let's just say that's a rough size that you want. That helps you to align your canvas when you stick things on. And then you just need an image. And when you get an image, there's two ways to do it. If you happen to find an SVG image, which actually defines all the lines, you could import an SVG. That's something I did in my helmet video where I was showing how to put decals on my hard hat. But in this case, I'm going to do the tracing, which is you need an image. So here, let me see if I can find you. So searching around the internet, I found this image. So I saved this image off. And then what I did is I come in here and you can say, insert attached canvas. So you hit that. You go and select your image. Let's see if I can go re-find you again here. Yep, you are somewhere else. There we go. So you can go find your image. And then what happens is it will... Oh, you didn't like that. Select it again. Oh, sorry. Select the face. Select this face. There we go. Okay, so the image popped on here. And then before you hit OK, you can actually sit here and resize. And you can move it around. So let's say that rough rectangle was correct. I could kind of resize this. Kind of get it in there. And then hit OK. And hit Stop Sketch. And then what I want to do is take this sketch and try to move it ahead. Or move this behind if I can. Oh. You're not going to let me do that, are you? Or I can probably just delete this. Delete that. Good. The reason I deleted it is because it can get a little... Oh, it doesn't like that. Review warning. Yeah, that's fine. I think it's fine. We shall see. Okay, so... I think the reason I did that is because if you go back to the sketch, that's back in your history and the image will disappear often. And so I will create a new sketch. So now I'm forward in the history so I can see my picture. And then from here, you can hit the L for line tool and zoom in. And literally, this is what I did. And there's probably some better ways to do this. but I just did all that, traced the whole thing. And I won't trace the whole thing here because that'd be a really boring video. And now that I had a trace, you press Q for the press pull tool and pull it up. And in this case, I found for me 8mm tended to work because I left the bottom. 2mm was always there, and then there was a 4mm gap seemed to work for the cards I was using. And the cards I had were not just the gift cards themselves, but included all that cardboard that usually is on them. And then I was able to fold them over. And I know this is not a gift card, I just printed this out as an example. It's the right size. I folded them over and stuck them in, and that worked pretty good for the size that I'm going to do. But anyway, so that's what I did. And then, let me go at this sketch real quick. Let me make a rough back here. I know it's not complete, but you get the idea. So I'll pull that up, 8mm. And then you got to figure out the size. So what I figured out that works for these, I'll go back and edit this sketch. Hit S for that tool, and I want my rectangle, and I figured I did about 50, 105 seemed to be a good distance. And I will move this so it cuts in there, and you can kind of fiddle with the depth. So then I will choose those. Let me hide the bodies, choose those two. Q, do a press pull, and I need to do an offset plane because I need to cut a little higher than so that I can get that empty void. So I'll start 2mm above where I normally would, bring back the body, and then go up 4mm. And that should work. I want to cut, hit that, and there's my void. And that's about the size that seemed to work for those. Now, if you're just putting a card in there, you might find you need to make something smaller, something even narrower, because that 4mm gap works if you have this folded over, and it kind of holds the tension. And so that worked pretty good. So there you go. So now let me go grab one here. I'll go grab my final design. Oh, sorry. Probably should cover a few more things, right? And then the next thing I had to do is once I got this all done, I had to go create a sketch on the top. And then I had to go draw all these lines. Now, if you try, in this case, if you try to repeat these lines, these little dashes are far too narrow. So I had to make mine, if you see, mine are much, much thicker. Otherwise, they're not going to show up very well. Also, the text is much too small too. So I actually had to do a lot of different things with text. So I won't do the lines here, but I'll do a text. I'll do rib, and bold, and 15. Then you can find what lettering works best for you. If you're doing something like this, I mean, who knows what kind of card you're doing. Hit OK. Q for the press pull tool. And I went down -2. To a cut, hit OK. Remove my sketches. And you'll see, there I go. I got my rib. Now, no, I didn't go down 2. I didn't go down 2. I just went down probably 1. I have to go look at that. But that gives you some tips on things if you want to do something similar. Okay, so with that, let me go and put it in Prusa Control and make it and print it out. If I can find it. There we go. Cow. So there was my final go. 0.2mm worked just fine. 20% standard infill. Now for here, you have to put supports from everywhere, because there are no supports in the bottom, but we do need to support this little inner part, otherwise it's going to collapse as it prints. So generate. give it a once over. Okay, and then save the G-code, and let's go print it out and see how long it takes. Okay, first let me go over the numbers. So this took 4 hours and 21 minutes to print out. And of course I had I messed up. Oh, sorry, I messed up my, let me go back up. I totally messed this up. So, the joys of trying to show things. So, again, supports from everywhere, 20%, 0.2 millimeters, which obviously I did before because I have it in my hand. And then if you're doing something like this where you're changing colors, you need to go up to the point where you need to change colors, which are in, this point is 7.2. So you hit 7.2, put that change filament in there, and now save your G-code. So save that G-code off, and that's what I printed. And that's what I had, because I had to change the color to red, so I can get that little effect there. Okay, anyway, back to the numbers. So the numbers, it took 4 hours and 21 minutes to print. It took 0.037 cents with electricity, and it weighs 0.058 kilograms, which at $20 per kilogram, that comes to $1.16 worth of material. And so the total cost to print this was $1.20. So not too bad for a little fun gift card holder. The only thing that was a pain, and I'll show a little video here I took here, is trying to get all the supports out. So that took a little while. And as you'll see in this video, the simple thing was to get a small screwdriver and dig in there and kind of work my way back and forth, so I can kind of cut out some things and try to dig it out. So it took about 5 minutes to get it all out, but in the end, it worked. So there you have that. Okay, so this had to be printed out with supports, but it's not too bad to dig them out. So it's, well, they're inside, so it's a bit of a pain. So you have to get a small screwdriver in here and get a little abusive, but careful, because you don't want to accidentally split this whole thing in two. So I kind of worked the sides. Okay, there we go. Now I got about probably a good 90% of it out. So that's pretty clean. So now I should be able to stick gift card in there just fine. Okay, and also now I put both these things on Thingiverse, and so the first one, the cow, the meat cut gift card part, happens to be thing 3372229, and I'll put a link in the show notes. And the fish one happens to be thing 3372240. So there you have it. So if you like the ones I designed, just download them, print them out, and use them. But if you don't have a need for one of those, but you like the idea and you want to go make your own, boy, go please make your own. And I hope this video gave you a few hints or a few clues or some measurements that can help you get your own job done. Hey, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, hey, give it a thumbs down. Also, if you like what we were doing here, subscribe to the channel by clicking the subscribe button. And lastly, have a piece of info to share? Just post a comment.